You're listening to the Redditch Standard podcast because you have impeccable taste.
Hi, my name's Ross Crawford and welcome to the Redditch Standard podcast. This week, and I tell you, I'm not worthy to be in the same room as this woman, we have the amazing Sonia Tudor, who ran 50 miles around Arrow Valley Lake on her 50th birthday. Welcome to the studio, Sonia.
Thank you very much, Ross. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you, and in such great shape as well. I thought you'd be exhausted after that 50-mile run, but I gather you went running the next day as well.
It wasn't pretty, and it was quite painful. The first 2 miles, there was lots of, but yeah, you've got to run it off. It's the only way. You'll get stiff and you'll get cramp. You've got to go back out again. So, yep. Went back out again Tuesday afternoon, back to the lake. Lots of people passing us, looking at. I was with my best friend Nikki, and lots of people looking at us as if to say, "Really, you're here again?"
All right, it's fantastic. And of course, also joining us, we have journalism student Eve, and we've got over there Sonia's son Alistair, and doing our sound once again is Claire. So, welcome all to the studio. Now, Sonia, why on earth did you want to run 50 miles on your 50th birthday?
Lots of reasons why. Not quite sure I'd ever want to have that same idea again, but we've done it now. I was anxious about my 50th, really anxious in the fact that I knew that if I threw a party, there'd be a lot of absent faces. My sister would have had to come in from Canada. Mum and Dad wouldn't have been there because obviously, sadly, they've passed. My son's on the spectrum, so if it had been loud music, he'd have had to spend the night in ear defenders, which wouldn't have worked. So I decided, obviously I've been, as you know, with Macmillan for 17 years, I decided that I could incorporate the two. So my love for running with Macmillan and see if we could raise some money.
But I gather you're kind of a latecomer to running itself, aren't you?
Yeah, the story goes, after my father passed away, I moved into their bungalow in Webb Heath, and I was sorting out some cupboards, and I found a little black diary, and in the little black diary, Daddy had written a list of things he wanted to do. It was his bucket list. He'd only got to number 37, and he said that nothing was in any particular order. It was just as they came to mind. And he said that he wanted to run the London Marathon. And then, of course, I've read it now, haven't I? So as eldest daughter, I put my pumps on and started to train. And then I didn't get a ballot place. It's really, really difficult to get a ballot place. So obviously I went to Macmillan. And I kind of thought I'd get a Macmillan place because of all of the work that I've done for the charity. But you don't never, there's no guarantee, there's no certainty that I would. And my sister said, "How do you think you're going to get on?" I said, well, the weekend they usually run the London Marathon, it's going to be Easter this year. So they're going to either have to bring it forward a week or take it back a week. And she said, "What do you think?" I said, "If they bring it forward a week," I said, "I'll get a place." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because it's the 13th of April, which is my father's birthday. So I'd have been running the London Marathon for my daddy on his birthday." And guess what? The 13th of April was the day that I ran the... I'd say I ran it. I probably cried my way around. My sister had flown in from Canada, and it was a really emotional day.
Yeah, I gather you said you had a balloon with your mum and dad.
Yeah, a happy birthday, Mum and Dad. Happy birthday, Dad, on it with a picture of Mum and Dad, and a helium one. And the idea was I'm going to run with this 26 miles all the way through. But right at the very beginning in the London Marathon, that you're held in pens and you're there for quite a while before you actually get to go. Oh, and this balloon was driving me crackers. The string was going round, it was tapping me on the head. It was just... So then I thought, do you know what? I'll go over the start line and then I'll let the balloon go, and then that'll be that. So it went early. It didn't go 26 miles.
Didn't do the 26 miles, no. And why Macmillan? There's so many charities out there. Why did you choose Macmillan?
In 2002, my mum got diagnosed with bowel cancer. I'm not going to go into all of the exact reasons why, because we ended up in the High Court in London with the Alexander Hospital because it was a medical mess-up. My mum should still be here. They made a huge mistake with Mum. So from the moment she got diagnosed to the moment she died was 8 weeks. So in amongst that 8 weeks, if you imagine my mum, beautiful inside and out, my best friend, talk to her about anything and everything, the absolute rock. She had a really high-powered job with West Midlands Police. The Chief of Police came to her funeral. He wrote us a beautiful handwritten letter. She, at 55, with her pension, she was going to retire. She'd got all of this. And then in amongst all of the mayhem, walked in a lady called Jenny Garside, who I have recently... I put a thing on Facebook. Does anybody know? Is she about? And she's still working for the trust, and she's in Worcester, and we're going to hook up for a coffee when the children go back to school. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Jenny, because I haven't seen her since Dad passed away. And she walked in, and she was like the calm in the storm, in amongst all of the mayhem. She wasn't just there for Mum; she was there for us as well. And we just fast forward then to my dad. We're in the Alex, and she was in the hallway. She was talking to a couple of nurses. I think she was training them. She hasn't seen us for 8 years. And she turned around, Sonia, Joanne, to me and my sister, big hug. And she said, what are you here? And we said, Dad's upstairs, lung cancer. They've given him 12 months. And so she came up, and my dad was really pleased to see her, give her a big hug. And then the next morning when I went in, the curtain was shut, and I could hear him chatting away to somebody. And she was sat on the end of his bed having a cup of tea with him and a natter. She wasn't his nurse, but again, incredible. So we went into the local office. We haven't got those offices anymore. We used to have offices in Aswood Bank. It's now a farm, I think. Don't quote me on that. That might be wrong. And we had offices there, and we walked into the offices and we said to them, look, this is the idea we've got. We want to go into all of the businesses locally, and we want to ask them if they'll have a collection pot. And then every month we'll go back, we'll get the pot, we'll leave them a new one, we'll take it home, we'll count it up, and we'll bring it back to you. And that's what we did. And we ended up with 180 to 200 tins out in the community.
And now you're a Macmillan ambassador for Worcestershire, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've climbed a tree?
Yeah, in 2012. Really honoured. Really honoured. It's lovely. I get to meet some lovely people. They send me out to meet fabulous people that have raised. Recently, I went out to the Biffa team that had raised a load of money for us, and met them and had some photographs and collected a cheque, which I paid in. And then there was I met a guy called Nick Richardson, who's just done a gig at a pub in town and had raised, over £600 for us. So I met him and collected his money. And then next month we're at the Tardy Big pub for the Big Fest. They raised £8,000 for us last year, and all of the artists all come in and give up their time and perform, and obviously the ticket sales and the raffle sales are what make their money. And I do a little speech for them too. But
fantastic.
It's I'm honoured. Like I say, there's the world in all the evil that's going on in the world. The community spirit it's heartwarming, isn't it? When you need people and you want people.
It's that warm, fuzzy feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And tell me about the 50 miles. What sort of training did you do for that 50 miles?
I read all of the ultra books and all the ultra marathon things. I saw a lot of things online, and most of them get to about 35 miles, and then at 35 miles, that's kind of where they get themselves to. And what they do is they do a lot of back-to-backs. So they go out and run 20 miles one day, and then the very next day go back out and run another 20 miles. So I'm not very good at following, but I actually followed a training manual and did everything as it said, and it worked out well. I never ever. It's going to sound like I'm being big-headed and I'm being arrogant, and those people that know me will know that there's not a bad bone in my body. I knew I was going to complete it. There was never ever. If everybody was going to have to be there with their torches on their phones, I was not leaving the lake until I had done the 50 mile. Not in question.
There's no question of ever completing, of not completing it. And over to Eve, because as I think I warned you last week, Eve asked some killer questions. And I know Eve's got a question for you.
She'll be gentle with me, won't she?
So, like you were saying, you know, everyone was there. So was that what kept you going, really, the fact that, you know, everyone was there for you? You know?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had 2 concerns for the day. Number one was the weather. Up until Monday, we'd had day after day after day of rain, and I was thinking, if it's raining, nobody's going to turn up. And the second thing is I can ask you to come and run with me. Whether you'll actually turn up on the day and run with me, I've got no control over that. And I kept saying to Nikki, what happens if nobody comes? What happens if nobody comes? And out of the whole 39 laps, the least amount of people I ran with, you've probably seen Marcus's photos, the least amount of people I ran with, I did 1 lap with only 5. Only 5. I felt like, you know when you see Madonna go out in Central Park and she's got like an army round her? I felt like her all day. It was brilliant. I did actually ask 2 of the lads if they'd take a bullet for me. They didn't seem to be interested in taking a bullet, sadly.
I mean, it's just, you know, I'm just knocked out by what you've done. And I was one of those who thought, as I told you, I thought 50 miles, I couldn't see you doing it. I really couldn't. So hats off to you.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
That I never doubted it was going to happen. Walk. If I'd had to walk it, I'd have had to crawl it. It was happening. I'd told people I was going to do it. I was raising money to do 50 miles. I wasn't raising money to do 40 miles. I was raising money to do 50 miles. And I knew that no matter, I knew I'd be all right because I'd done 35. I kind of knew that the body would be, in my head, I'll be all right at least till 40. And then after 40, I might have to dig in. But the amount, when that photograph that Marcus took at the end, all of those people did the last lap with me. I knew there was lots of people behind me, but until you actually see the photograph, online, it's online, isn't it, on your page? Until you actually see that photograph, you go, oh my goodness, there was an army of us.
Yeah, fantastic. And is your Just Giving page, is that still open, is it?
That's still up and going. We've just gone over the 3,000, which is incredible. And thank you to everybody that's put some pennies our way. It is appreciated. And
that's Just Giving, and then it's Sonia Tudor 50, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, so still plenty of time to put your pennies into Sonia's fund, and
it stays local.
And yes, you said this. Go on, tell us about that.
So what I love about it is because it's gone into our pot. That I might have just helped the lady that lives in the next close, or you bought that cake on the day, or you've just sponsored me £10, and that £10 helps the chap in the close behind you, or the lady down the road. We're literally helping our neighbours, which for me is just, I know I'm a big believer that charity begins at home, and that there's lots of things where you pay your money, you see your money, and it disappears. Ours it's here. We're going to help, you know, our community, which for me is incredible.
And it's the same with the coffee mornings, because they're coming up as well.
Yeah, that's Macmillan's biggest fundraiser. It's just a good excuse, isn't it, to eat cake, I think. Eat cake and put some pennies in the pot. Yeah, it's incredible, that is. It's one of, like I say, it's our biggest fundraiser. And if anybody out there is listening, get the kettle on. Don't ask me to bake a cake. I can't bake you a cake. I'll bring a cake, but I can't bake you one.
Yeah, and I can certainly eat a cake or 2.
Yeah, there's a story with the cake. Everybody that was donating the cake, and Nikki, she's my best friend. I knew I needed a team around me because I can't do that. I can't lap the lake and sort out everything that's going on over here. So I picked wisely. I knew exactly who I was choosing for the right reasons. And Nikki had a job. Other than run with me, God bless her, she's never run more than 15 miles in her life, and she ended up doing 32 on the day. She had a tin, and in this tin, she was supposed to put certain cakes that were coming. One of our girls had done a gin cake, and we wanted a bit of gin in there, and there was a lemon drizzle and coffee, and put everything in this tin. So everything went in this tin so that On Tuesday, I knew I was going to have lost a lot of weight. I could literally sit and eat cake all day. That was the plan. So my tin of cake never ended up in my car. It ended up in Lisa's car, who was my event manager on the day, and she took it home. She took great pleasure in sending me a message to tell me that they were scrumptious. I may have said to her, please try not to choke on them. So I didn't even get all those people that made all the cakes. I didn't even get the cake.
And you made over £600 on the day from the cake,
Yeah,
didn't you?
$645, brilliant. And what we did as well is there was a lot left. So what happened is I didn't know how they would be, but Macmillan had given me a handful of donation letters, and I'm a big believer that if you don't ask, you don't get. So I went into Morrison's, Asda and Sainsbury's were incredible. I went in and said, this is what I'm doing. Can you help me out? And the stuff that they donated was incredible. Water, Lucasade, cakes, fruit. We had it all. But at the end of the day, there was still quite a bit left. And I thought to myself, do you know what? Charity's charity. Let's help somebody else. So I put on Facebook, give me a list of all our local, what have we got, homeless-wise, food bank-wise, give us a list. And there was one that kind of touched my heart because we've got a night stop for the youth homeless.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I phoned them up. Do you need some cake? Do you want some water? And as it turned out, on the Tuesday, I wasn't impressed by the entrance to their office after running 50 miles Tuesday to climb a fire escape. My legs weren't impressed, but we got the boxes up there. And they all went, I think it was on the Wednesday, they were taking all their youth. They take them once a year to the seaside. So all of the cake and everything that was left over, the kids were sat eating on Weston-super-Mare Beach on the Wednesday. So we did a good thing, didn't we? We helped. Whatever was left out to another charity house.
Yeah, well-travelled cake as well.
Absolutely.
And I know that you brought into the office today some leaflets, haven't you, about the warning signs to look for?
Yeah, there's some
cancer?
Yeah, at the moment, prevention is the one thing. Catching it early, you give yourself a chance. So I can leave some downstairs in reception for you. Or if anybody wants one, get in touch with us. If you run out of them, please, I've got boxes of them. I can bring them. They're called signs and symptoms. You open them out, and on one side is for the girls and one side is for the boys, and it's just things to look out for.
Okay, that's great. And Sonia, you've been a fantastic guest. And Eve, have you got any more killer questions?
I was just wondering, are you going to do anything else like this again? Have you planned anything? Got any ideas?
No. all of my friends keep saying to me, oh, 60 on your 60th. Because of my family history, I think because nobody's got to their 60th, I think if I get to 60, I'm hoping I do, I think I'll have to have a party for that, because we'll have to paint everything red, won't we? Because it'll be incredible that somebody finally in the family tree has got to 60.
Yeah, lots of cake, I hope.
Well, as long as it doesn't end up in the back of Lisa's car, yes.
Fantastic. You're going to stick around because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news items that's coming up in this week's paper. But first of all, we're going straight to Claire, who's going to tell us all about the entertainments that's happening this week. Over to you, Claire.
For all the things to do and see this week, it's Claire Bullivant with this week's What's On Guide.
Thanks, Ross. I'm Claire, and I'm here to tell you about some of my favourite things to see and do this weekend in the Redditch and Ulster areas. Starting on Friday, the 23rd of August, Worcestershire Art Studios event is happening. This is a free art event. Well, 83 free art events, in fact, and it's running all weekend until Monday, the 26th. Basically, it's 180 artists of all different mediums. You've got painters, sculptors, you name it, everything. And they are all opening their doors to you at 83 different locations around Worcestershire. This is a chance to delve into unseen creative spaces, talk directly to artists about their inspiration, learn techniques and materials, as well as a chance to purchase exclusive works. Some artists are offering refreshments, demonstrations of their work, and even the opportunity to have a go at making some art yourself. And if you visit 5 or more studios, you can be in with a chance to win £100 to spend on some artwork yourself. Pretty cool, right? Entry to all the venues is free, so why not go and have a creative weekend? Bank holiday weekend is the perfect way, I think, to spend a weekend, whether you're an art lover or you just fancy a great family trip out. It's a brilliant idea, and you can find out all the details and which artists you'd like to visit on the website, which is worcestershireopenstudios.org.uk. Also on Friday and going on all weekend is Camper Calling at Ragley Hall. They tell me there is going to be great music, family fun, activities including craft workshops, lake activities and some seriously tasty food and drink. I love it. Campercalling.com for all the info on that. Moving on to Saturday, the 24th of August, I highly recommend Barton Fest happening at the Cottage of Content in Ulster. This is 6 fantastic artists and bands to ensure a fantastic day of live music in this lovely favourite pub. 15 Welford Road is the address, B54NP is the postcode. Get yourself there for a fun day, 4 p.m. start, and it's going all the way until 11 p.m. However, I'm torn because it's also the Feckin Beer Fest happening at the Rose and Crown in the gorgeous village of Feckenham on Saturday. I live pretty close to here, and it's one of my favourite pubs. B96 6HS is the postcode for your sat-nav. They say they're going to have 14 beers on hand pools, live music, food served all day, great fun, great atmosphere at the Feckin Beer Fest. Hope to see you there on Saturday. Staggering distance home for me, woohoo! Or if you're in the mood for some serious live music on Saturday, the Fuzzy Logic Band, they're going to be performing at the Oust House in Redditch. These guys are brilliant and it's classic rock at its best. The ousthouseredditch.co.uk for all the info on that. Moving on to Sunday, the 25th of August, it's of course Studley Car Boot Sale. Gates open at 6 a.m. And if I say so myself, this is surely the best car boot sale in the land. I happen to love a bargain, and I just think there is so much good stuff at this one. You can go to car boot sales all over the place, and it's all just tat, isn't it? But there really is some quality stuff at the Studley Car Boot Sale, and you really can pick up a bargain. As I said, gates open at 6 a.m. All the details are on studleycarbootsale.co.uk. Then, if you fancy a bit of fitness on Sunday, there is a running event happening at the beautiful Hanbury Hall and Gardens on Sunday. This is a 10K, and normally I'd be like, 10K? What? That's a long distance. But I'm inspired now after listening to our amazing guest on the podcast this week. I may just have to give it a go. 10K is nothing to her, and hopefully you'll think so too. The postcode for your sat-nav is WR97EA, and this is a National Trust event. Gates open at 8:30 to register. Do get there in time. The run actually starts at 9 a.m, but you do need to register first. You can give them a call if you need more details on 01527 821 214. Then after you've done your exercise, it's back to my neck of the woods with the Feck Fest at Feckenham Cricket Club. Feck Fest is always brilliant year after year. They have live music alongside various food and drink outlets, arts, crafts, children's entertainment, and it all kicks off at 12 noon. And last year it went on very late, so I think it probably will again this year. Don't judge. We don't have to get up for work on Monday, do we? So being a bank holiday, enjoy and do try and check out the Feck Fest at Feckenham Cricket Club. A couple of other Sunday night options for you, though, are watching the Woo Town Hillbillies on Sunday evening at the Black Tap in Redditch. They're always good fun. And there's also a gin and girly night going on at the South Redditch Sports and Social Club with singer Alexandra Krellin performing there. Hello, gin and girl time. Sounds amazing. And it all starts at 8 p.m. there. And obviously, it wouldn't be a Sunday night without Alan's charity quiz night at the Bell Inn in Aswood Bank, 9 p.m. start there. Have a lovely holiday weekend, everyone. And remember, if you have an event going on, do let us know so we can let everyone know. And back to you with the studio, Ross.
That's great, Claire. Loads and loads of things going on this weekend here in Redditch. And we're back with Sonia and with Eve Watson. And we're going to talk about a few of the news things that are coming up, news items that are coming up in the Redditch Standard this week. And the first one is to do with the Palace Theatre, which is, it's got its busiest ever season, autumn season coming up. And they're shouting out for more volunteers. Now, Sonia, you've got a thing about volunteers, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been talking about this quite a lot just recently at the forum. Volunteers, sadly, and I noticed this just recently at a Redditch committee. Volunteers were getting older, and we don't seem to be attracting the youth through. And Macmillan have started to look at some ideas about how we can get our youngsters to get involved, because obviously I'm not going to be here for it. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to have the people, and sadly we seem to be in a situation where people don't want to do anything for nothing, but volunteering is all about making a difference. And I was thinking, you know, we were looking at things like, for example, what a thing to have on your CV. If you rock up to your employer, you hand it over and you go, oh, you volunteer at the Palace Theatre 3 nights a week, or you do... It just shows a more, I don't know, a good side to the person that you're... And also the difference that it makes. There's never ever do I put my green top on and think to myself, no. On the days that I can't or I don't feel like running, I put my Macmillan shirt on purpose, because then it reminds me that somebody somewhere's taken their last breath and would love to have the opportunity to run today. So as far as volunteers are concerned, there's got to be a way of encouraging them in. I don't know whether it'd be worth speaking to the Palace Theatre on whether they would be open for like charity night volunteers. So let's say for 1 week, Macmillan help out, but let us have a bucket there and we could make some money, and then maybe another week another charity could go in, and another week, and that way they would get help, and at the same time we would get, we'd help each other out.
That's a great idea.
I don't know, it's something maybe, but we're trying to encourage the youth to volunteer is something that most charities as we speak are looking at.
Yeah. That's one for the Palace to think of, and that's a great idea.
Yeah,
we can ask a young person here, Eve.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, it's so good to have on your CV, isn't it? It just makes you stand out from the rest of the people applying for a job, apart from anything, and it's helping out with other people. So it just seems like a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And moving on, Operation Yellowhammer. Operation Yellowhammer is the government's code name for a no-deal Brexit, and basically it said there's going to be 3 months of chaos at the ports. There's going to be medical shortages. There's going to be food shortages. There's going to be fuel shortages. And I spoke this week to our MP, Rachel McLean, and she said the government, this country, is better prepared than ever to leave the EU without a deal. And I know you've got a view on Brexit, haven't you, Sonia?
Well, I kind of think we're Great Britain. We did 2 wars, we've lived on rations, we've done all of these things, and we still come out the other side. I don't think that there should be any deal, to be honest.
Bring it on.
Yeah, we'll do what we've got to do. And as neighbours and communities, if it means we all have to club together and we have to do a bit of rough before we get to the smooth, well, that's what we've always done.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you're speaking, from a historical point of view, we've done fantastically well on our own. Britain has stood alone numerous times, hasn't it?
Absolutely. We and like I've found out only last week, when needs must, when we need to club together and help each other out, we all turn up for each other. Isn't nobody going to see nobody go without? Or honestly, truthfully, do you think the rest of the world is not going to want to do business with us?
We'll cut back across to Eve here, because she's a young lady who is pro-European Union.
I am, yeah. Am I right in saying Yellowhammer, the whole document hasn't been released, has it?
It's just been leaked, yes, and there's disputes over the document itself. On the one hand, we've got cabinet ministers saying it's an old document, and then on the other hand, we've got former ministers saying, well, actually, it was released on the 1st of August, so it's a fairly new document. But it all adds to this Brexit chaos and confusion over the 31st of October, and to be honest, I don't think it helps anyone, because it just makes
the whole thing's a mess.
The whole thing is a mess. You can't say that though, in case the council ban you from saying it. And finally, there's a fantastic show coming up at the Palace Theatre on September the 8th. It's called Encore. I know we're back at the Palace, and it's raising money for another charity, that's Charlotte and Craig's Saving Hearts Foundation. And obviously, I'd have thought as a fellow charity worker, you would support another charity, Sonia.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big believer that charity begins at home, and that we should look after our own. And I, just because I'm, cut me open and I'm Macmillan, I'm a big believer that you don't choose a charity chooses you. Let's say, for example, that my parents had a heart attack and had, I might support the Heart Foundation. I think you just kind of go to a charity that strings home, and I wish them all the success. I hope they raise lots and lots of money.
That's fantastic. Now, before we go, I know you want to put a special shout out for Redditch Stars runners.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks ago, a couple of friends of mine, Zoe and Cassie, they're runners at Stars, and they said to me, you should join a club, because before that I was doing a lot of running by myself. And I've had the amount of love and support that they've shown me, the amount of runners that came down on the day that ran with me was incredible. And also what they do is they do a couch to 5K. So I was able to go as a runner and run at the Abbey Stadium and run with other runners that are running their first ever 5K without stopping. And it was very emotional. It was absolutely incredible. So I would recommend anybody to put your pumps on. Is it going to hurt? Probably yes, but doesn't everything when you first start? We're not all Paula Radcliffe. There are days where I feel like I'm her, and then there's days I'm a wonky donkey. That's the way sport is, isn't it? But anybody, like I say, Redditch Stars have been incredible. Great running club, and they do some good stuff.
And they meet at the Abbey Stadium. What time and when?
I'm not 100% certain when the next Couch to 5K is, but if you check their webpage, but they're about to start again. We've just done the graduation, so everybody's just passed, but they'll start them again, and they do them Sunday mornings.
That's fantastic. Sonia, you've been a great guest. Once again, we're just not worthy to be in the same room as you. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for Alistair as well for joining us, for Eve, and for Claire for doing our sounds. My name is Ross Crawford. I'm the editor of the Redditch Standard. You can call me on 01527 588 697. You can email me at editor@redditchstandard.co.uk or at ross.crawford@bullivantmedia.com. Or you can even check our website where all the latest news is on, and it's at www.redditchstandard.co.uk. Don't forget to put your pennies into Sonia's Just Giving account. That's at Just Giving, and then it's Sonia-Tudor 50. See you next week. Thanks. Bye.